Oh my god! Oh!
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
This is exactly what I've been waiting for. This is exactly, I don't mean to sound like Cat Williams, but this is exactly what I've been waiting for.
Hello there guys, gals, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leipalarden, and did I say that I wasn't uploading weekly anymore?
I lied.
I could not pass up the opportunity to talk about Forge, something I've been eagerly awaiting even before Infinite released. I might rag on Halo 5 a lot, but if there's one thing I really loved about that game, it was Forge. And from the moment Infinite was announced, I knew that it was going to be a tall order to fill for 343 if they wanted to make a better version of Halo's map-making tool and surpass what they were able to achieve with Halo 5. So far, Forge is looking to be colossal in its scope and what you can do with it. From welding objects together, to changing the size of various Forge blocks, messing around with atmospheric effects and time of day. This is what I dreamt of having back in 2010 with Reach's Forge. Overall, it's looking very promising. Permitting it launches in a good state and isn't broken,
I see this as an absolute win.
Thankfully, 343 will be updating the community tab as well, which is a good step forward and will make sharing maps much easier. Though there's one thing that everyone seems to be overlooking, and I haven't heard enough discussion about it within the community. There's a lot of talk that Forge will be the mode to save us all and return Halo to its former glory. Infinite will be a good game again, but there's one teeny tiny problem with that. And that's custom games. Forge is great and all, but what good is it when custom games are well broken? It's like a chef prepared your favorite meal, but there's no plates to put it on. Or maybe a better analogy is that they forgot to give you cutlery. How will you enjoy this beautiful meal? Eat it with your hands like a filthy animal? No. You ask the restaurant staff for a knife and fork. So that's what we're going to do today. Welcome to Restaurant La Halo, where I'll be talking to head chef Joseph Staten and his 343 staff members in hopes of securing the sacred icons of cutlery. Or custom games, I guess. Where was I even going with this metaphor? Let's diagnose the problem first. Custom games are busted in a number of ways, no secret. Starting with the option to save custom games, you can't. Sometimes. The menu for custom games also doesn't make a lot of sense. This tile layout that they've got going on takes up a lot of screen space, and having two different tiles for similar game modes like CTF and One Flag CTF, or an entire row for Fiesta modes, is a bit odd when in previous Halo games it was all under one game mode and a drop-down menu. Matches frequently won't start, sharing game modes doesn't normally work, most of the time when making changes to a game mode, the game just ignores you and starts without them. You can't select your spawning weapon to be random unless you're playing specifically Fiesta, and you also can't select no weapon. In the case of Slayer, you can't turn off teams without choosing specifically free-for-all. There's no option to spawn in with camouflage or equipment and make them unlimited. There's no traits for the flag, ball, or seed carrier. You can't force colors on players because of the armor coding system. It's just really strange how we're able to change something as simple as strafe speeds, but on the other hand, you can't choose for players to spawn with random weapons, which I think is something that's been an option since Combat Evolved. With how limited the available options currently are for custom games, it's essentially like missing half the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. You've got one half there with the great map that you made in Forge, but what good is it if you can't craft a good mode around that map that works in tandem with it, thus finishing the jigsaw? And that's not even mentioning the lack of modes in Infinite, a long-running problem in this game that seems to be getting fixed really slowly. There's no Infection, Juggernaut, Multi-Team, partly due to the game's outline system not factoring that in. Race, Griffball, Assault, Regicide, Dominion, VIP, Territories, and Invasion. We're missing quite a bit at the moment. Infection is the big one. As an average Infection enjoyer myself, I'll gladly vouch for its significance and how flexible of a game mode it is. Linear Infection and their maps, Fat Kid, Get Out of My House, Run from Barney, Toilet, Garbage Man, Jenga, Jump Rope, Speed Halo, Hot Pursuit, Cops and Robbers, Ghostbusters, Ride or Die, horror game modes like Slender, The Hidden, Michael Myers, Alien or Predator, and lots of other popular custom game modes all revolve around Infection being in the game, and it's currently not. I've speculated that Infection probably won't be coming to Infinite till October in a Halloween-themed event, and with, let me see, T-minus 3 months till the end of October with no new news of Infection's arrival aside from some leaks, I'm gonna bet good money that it won't be out till then, which is a massive missed opportunity. Forge is targeted to release a whole month before Infection will likely be added to the game, which sucks. It rules out like 70% of Halo's most entertaining custom games and limits the kind of maps that people will be able to create in Forge 2, as presumably you won't be able to choose Infection-specific options in Forge to better fine-tune your maps for that mode. It might only be a month away, but it still seems like a missed opportunity to me. Now, even if custom games were to be fixed and we got a ton of new modes, there's still one big gaping hole that needs to be considered. And that's the accessibility of custom games. It's all well and good for me to say how much I've been looking forward to playing them. I'm fortunate enough to have a bit of an audience here on YouTube and a following, so I can probably just throw out a community post or a tweet saying that I want to play custom games and I'll hopefully get a decent turnout. I'll get a decent turnout, right? You guys would all want to do that, right? Please? I don't want to play customs on my own. Boom, 28-person lobby, full. If I wanted to play test a map or a mode that I made, it would not be all that hard. But imagine yourself in the shoes of someone who doesn't have access to that. You made an awesome map in Forge, you want to play test it to see how she goes, or you just want to kick back and enjoy some harmless casual fun, and then you realize that none of your mates are playing Halo Infinite anymore because dead game Lamau. So what do? Well, the first course of action would normally be the custom games browser, but oh yeah, no. 343 have said that a customs browser is something they're actively looking into adding at some point down the line, but knowing their track record and how long it took them to get one into the MCC from announcement to implementation, I'm not so sure we'll be seeing one anytime soon. The customs browser goes a long way in letting people enjoy custom games to their fullest. It's far more convenient to just join a game with people or host an open lobby than go to the trouble of inviting friends or recent players, especially considering how Halo's player base is nowadays. Remember trash talking or game chat? Yeah, me neither, because no one ever uses it. That's part of the challenge you have to overcome, is that initial social barrier. It didn't used to be as much of a problem back in the Halo 2, 3, Reach and 4 days, because every man and his dog had that crappy little telemarketer mic included with their console.
I can't hear your mic is so shitty. I can't hear you, your mic is so shitty. I said your mom's probably not home, that's where you're fucking swearing all the time.
It was easy to party up with people between matches, because the game's menus and systems encouraged that. It was easier to talk to players on your team because, by default, TeamSpeak wasn't turned off in the menus, and so it was easier to make friends or drag your party kicking and screaming into a custom games lobby. It's much harder to do that now. The customs browser circumvents all of that and just gets to the good part, making custom games a much more accessible experience, especially for casuals or those who aren't as familiar with Halo and its community. Without a customs browser, the next best option is probably going to be forums on Halo Waypoint or other websites like Halo Customs in order to organize custom games, which is another hurdle in the way of making custom games straightforward like they should be if you want to appeal to the most people. While I really do believe Forge is going to be a net positive for Infinite, I think we need to keep our expectations in check. The average player doesn't want to stuff around trying to find a custom game, they just want to hop into matchmaking quickly, have some fun, progress their battle pass or whatever, and that's the majority of the player base that dropped off. That kind of casual who just wants to play Halo for the most basic things it has to offer. The diehard Halo fans like me and some of you watching this video, and those who are willing to go that extra mile to play some custom games, they never really left and never stopped being interested in Halo, even if they uninstalled the game or stopped playing Halo for a little bit. I'm sure we'll see an increase in Infinite's population, and the game will definitely pick up some more traction, hopefully with official marketing and all the content creators piling on to sing the game's praises, but this is not going to be as big as a lot of folks think it'll be. I think Forge's real benefits will come from its inclusion in an official capacity like matchmaking. 343 have got a new bottomless well of potential here for new maps to be added into the matchmaking map rotations. Apparently, and take this with a grain of salt, I'm not too sure how true this is, but they've had some issues with making maps due to map creation being outsourced to Spirasoft, a dev team located in Russia. You can see where I'm going with this and why we've only got 2 maps since the game launched. So adding some community-made maps could help to rejuvenate the game, especially if they're almost indistinguishable from dev-made maps in their quality and how they play, which could very easily be possible considering how extensive Forge's options are. This could also be used to put unique spins on existing maps too, so they're not as boring to look at after 8 months of playing on them all the time. Maps at nighttime with a thick fog for infection is something I've seen thrown about, or extra environmental effects that can change sight lines or put a new spin on maps we've played hundreds of times. There's a lot that can be done with Forge to make Infinite more interesting to play, and can act as a good fallback till 343 can start adding their own maps. If there's one key takeaway that I want you all to get from this video, is that Forge is only half the picture. Custom games need some love too, especially given their current state. Those two go together like McNuggets and sweet and sour sauce, or Mountain Dew and Doritos. They're almost inseparable, and you don't want one flavor overpowering the other. They should be on equal levels of taste enjoyment, but for different reasons. One is sweet and the other is savory. I'm still an advocate of the idea that Halo should be a casual's first experience, and it should prioritize variety through things like custom games. It's looking more and more like user-based content is going to be the foundation for Infinite's future. There just needs to be more ways to make that content easily accessible. Hopefully 343 are already well on top of this and know that customs are scuffed and understand the importance of something like a customs browser. But we'll just have to wait and see. Overall though, I'm really looking forward to Forge. I can't wait to make some maps, I can't wait to see what the community makes, and I can't wait to play on maps with you guys as well. I think custom game nights will be something that I have to do later down the line when Forge releases, so please let me know if you'd be interested in joining in for that, and what your initial thoughts are on Forge as well. If you liked the video, well, you know what to do. I shouldn't have to tell you by this point, but what I will tell you to do is subscribe. You wouldn't. You're way scared.